Let's see. Hello, everyone. As we're about to start here, I want to welcome you all to the California Green Ribbon Schools statewide network meeting for past, present, future applicants. And as we get started here, would all introduce yourself in the chat with your name, organization, and what brings you to the green ribbon? Maybe your role, and then brings you the green ribbon. And when we do that, I'm actually going to start off our meeting today with a mindfulness moment as people are starting to settle themselves into the afternoon and welcome you there here to this meeting. I just thought it'd be a nice way to start off, considering the Green Ribbon has mindfulness and has health and wellness baked in, that we all take a moment to do some self-care and a little bit of belly breathing. If you haven't done it before, we're going to jump right into that. And I actually have, let's see, somewhere I have something I want to share with each and every one of you. Where is it? Right here. There we go. So if you haven't done it before, belly breathing is actually exactly what it sounds like. It's taking deep breaths in and out of your nose, where your belly and your diaphragm are pulling that air in and pushing that air out. So as we all arrive today, I'd like to walk you through a few of those so we can all settle in and be present in this moment together. Okay? So as you see on the right there, belly breathing is not. And if you have your microphone on right now, could you please mute it? Okay, so each person, if you wouldn't mind putting your hand on top of your tummy and then breathing through your nose, I'm going to count to 5 in, and then we're going to 5 out. Okay? All right, so in through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out through your nose and pushing that stomach in so it pushes that air in and out through your nose. In, so your stomach should be coming out. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then hold, and then pushing it out. So your stomach will go down now and pushing that air back up through your chest and out your nose. We're gonna do that one more time. In, 3, 4, 5. And then out, pushing that air back out through your chest, through your nose, and 2, 1. One more deep breath. And thank you all for indulging this moment for me and everyone else. Just a nice way to arrive. I know many of you have had a full day, either in classrooms with students or with adults, which can be equally as stressful. So this is just a nice way to arrive. Okay. So as I said, this is the Green Ribbon Schools network meeting. For those of you just arriving, you're in the right place. This is a place for us to share and learn with each other and meet each other, which is going to lead us right into our first activity. We're going to break out into breakout rooms to meet each other. And we have a question that we'd like to pose. And I want to make sure those of you that just got here have the agenda. Right? Everyone has the agenda. Paulini, can you put the agenda into the um, let's see, wait a second. Yeah, there you go. Into the chat. Our question today for you to discuss in your breakouts are where are you in the green ribbon application process? Today's topic is applying for the green ribbon. What is the green ribbon? What resources are here for the green ribbon and how you can navigate the application process. So, if you wouldn't mind, we're gonna break you off. Paulina, would you make those rooms for us, please? And I'd like you to discuss where you are. If you're new, that's great. Glad to have you here. If you're an alumni and done this before, please share your wisdom. And you should see the breakout rooms. Go ahead and join your breakout. Back every. I know getting ripped out of a breakout room is tough. You're probably in the middle of a sentence, but it's really nice to see many of you here. As we were in my group, there were a lot of new applicants, which is really encouraging. I see some familiar faces too. I see you out there, and you know who I'm talking to, people I've seen before. You've been through this before. You've gone through an application review with me before. I presented you awards before. You are the shoulders that our new applicants can stand on. So I want to move to our next section of our meeting, and that is reviewing the questions that were sent in the registration. And by and large, many of you are new applicants. So I'm going to spend a little time here talking about how to apply, what the award is, and the application process. So for those of you that have done this before, this may be a reminder, it may be a refresher, or maybe something you don't know. So stay tuned. Now, the Green Ribbon Schools program assesses schools, districts, and county offices for achievement in three areas: conservation of resources, water, energy, waste, and alternate transportation. Also, health and wellness of students and staff, and that's everything covering indoor air quality, pest management, nutrition, garden programs, physical education, outdoor learning, mental health. It's all of that has to do with the health and wellness of students and staff. And then the third pillar is environmental literacy. And Pauline, if you haven't already, can you make sure that you put the document that I'm referring to? So I drew together some notes based on the questions, and I'm just reviewing them right now. So you can follow along as I go over this document. But I wanted to give you the big idea of what the green ribbon is. And where I left off with the pillar three is environmental literacy, and that's both in planning, application in classrooms, enrichment, STEM and STEAM integration, and finally, environmental stewardship. So really helping our students become stewards of the environment. Now, anyone who applies, don't run for the hills when you see 72 questions in an application. It is not to be done in full fidelity. It is 72 opportunities to show it. Somebody's got their mic off. Could someone mute? Thank you. So when you come in the first year, apply with what you've got. Look over the application, and if there's something you're already doing, right to that. And really start off with this as a self-assessment year for the first year. Apply with what you have. And then every year you iterate, you just add more detail. You can use that first year as an idea for what our next steps are. And once you get an award behind you, you take that award to a board meeting or to your principal or someone that is the decision maker at your district and show them that you have some momentum and you like to keep it going and ask them for their help and support. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Nate. The application process is just that. You start early and you iterate. Now, use it as a roadmap after the first year of using it as an assessment tool. Use it for future planning. And after the first year of application, you can reach out to us at CDE and we'll do an application review. More importantly, I will do the application review with you. Anyone that reaches out will get an application review and I will go through your scores. I will give you some tips and tricks on how to improve your application, and I'll review some of the resources we have to help you bring your application to the next level. Now, it's really important to stay in the network. You're not alone. You're amongst many friends that are doing the same work. So please utilize the people in this meeting, make a friend, exchange information, because all of you are trying to work towards the same goal, whole school, district, or county office sustainability. And there are plenty of people that have done it before you that can help you navigate this road. Now, like I said before, the application is intentionally broad. You don't have to answer all 72 questions. In fact, it's designed to have enough space for gold standard to have 25% of the application not addressed. 55 to 65 is bronze, 65 to 75 is silver, and 75 and above is gold. So you have some space. If you don't have solar panels, leave that question empty, and that's okay. But if you do have something, really go into depth on what that is. Now, there are lots of different resources and best practices when applying for the Green Ribbon. Using tools like our application toolkit, or applicant toolkit, which we'll go over later, is a really great way to see a great um, chronological step by step of how to address this application. And I'll let Nate go over that in a little bit. The other thing is, I don't suggest doing this alone. Gather a team of site administrators, teachers, students, parents, someone in the district office that you can talk to about your bills, or someone that you can talk to about conservation. Sometimes facilities or maintenance and operation offices have this information, but getting in contact with them early is really important because it can take some time to crunch those numbers. Having a strong lead applicant is really important for this application. You can have a lot of people on your team, but you should have one person gathering all that information to have one voice. And unofficially, I always say look for an English teacher or someone that likes to write, because that's really an advantage to have that really drawn out narrative. And that's a really important part. We really want you to show and not just tell. If you have a garden, tell us all about it. Measurements, details, quantities. Use as much descriptive information as you can to really paint a picture about what's happening at your school or district or county office. Now, here's some pro tips. And anyone that's met with me before could probably say this in their sleep. So if you want to, go ahead and mute and say it with me. The three big words are saturation, longevity, and evidence. Every one of your answers in your application should be looking at those three topics so that you're making sure to bring the whole response together. Now, saturation has to do with how many students are impacted. So a good example of what it's not is 8 students at a school site that are on a green team out of the 800 are doing great environmental work. That's going to be really low saturation. But if those 8 students are leading an initiative on water bottle use and renewable water bottles and something across the entire school, then it's full saturation. It's really important to try to showcase everyone's impacted instead of just a few. Longevity is the next one. It's really important to remember with longevity, you want to make sure to talk about the whole story. You may have a great garden. Let's talk about the first time you talked about having a garden, maybe at a Starbucks with one of your colleagues. What happened and what boulders did you have to move to make that happen? Tell that whole narrative story because that's really where the heart of the achievement lies. The artifact or whatever you've developed is really important, but it's all that stuff ahead of time. And then finally, evidence. Paint a picture with words. This is the time to brag. And it's not bragging, it's just replicating and showcasing best practice and share your best practice with others to be inspired by. The last thing here in pro tips is cross-pollinate. It's really important that your one achievement can be utilized across the application. Really make sure that you are using like a garden, for example. You can showcase a garden in all three pillars. In pillar two, where they ask for the garden, what's happening there, tell us about what it looks like, what shapes like, what's happening there. But in pillar one, when we're talking about conservation of water, talk about the irrigation in the garden. And pillar three, when we're talking about education, what's the education that's happening in that garden? That can be in multiple places, and it should be because our reviewers only read one pillar. So pillar one only has pillar one reviewers. They'll never see pillar two or three, and the others will never see pillar one. So it's really important. If you said it at the beginning and you're afraid to say it later because the other reviewers haven't seen it, and it's really important that we see it where it matters. Let's see. Let's see. Don't leave questions blank. You get partial credit for anything that you write. I mean, within reason, making sure that you have something going on there. And you can't talk about future things that haven't happened yet. Like if you have this idea of this great space, but you don't have any commitment to that work. When a commitment means like a contract, board resolution, or some memo of understanding, we can't really use that as a credible achievement yet. So make sure to don't leave it blank, and don't just talk about future stuff unless you have something solid. Now, finally, just so you know, it's really important when you're working with this application not to do it alone. Ask people around you. Like I said, meet someone here. Reach out to me if you have a question. I'm happy to answer it. You're not alone. And it's really important to just submit. Just go ahead, go for it. Send in what you got, see what you get back. because there's a lot of resources behind that once you're in our system. And you're now all officially members of the Green Ribbon Schools Network. There's no fees or dues, so just know that you are amongst people that are here to help and lift you. And that's all I have. I'm going to pass this on over to Nate to go over some of the resources that are available. And the remaining of the questions from registration, I'm going to leave it here in this document. This document's yours, part of your cash and prizes for being here today. Thanks. Go ahead, Nate.
Great. Thanks, George. Hi, everyone. I'm Nate Ivey. I'm in Fremont Unified School District. I'm also the co-chair of the California Environmental Literacy Initiative, and supporting the California Green Ribbons is one of the projects of CAELI. I'm really happy to be here today. Just, in Fremont, we've been working on this journey ourselves. We've got 42 schools. We've had 2 schools successfully complete and submit applications. First year, they didn't get any recognition. They followed the process, got the feedback from George, resubmitted, and both of those schools were recognized. We have about 8 to 10 of our schools that are working on applications this year. Um, I want to reiterate, George's don't leave any questions blank. We took a shot at answering some questions, and when we got feedback from George, it helped us know we were really on the wrong track and misunderstanding even what the question was asking initially. And in some other places, we got some really good feedback that we could build on. But I think if we left it blank, there wouldn't be any foundation to get that feedback. A lot of you are probably reapplying, and I wanted to talk briefly about some of the changes to the application this year. There's 2 categories of changes. One is technical. Make sure that you're in Calibri or Arial font size 12. So just a very technical note about some of the technical requirements, but also thematically, some of the questions have shifted. Part of this is related to the, tension between state and federal initiatives. The federal level has seemed to move away from this a little bit recently, and it's allowed us in California to really think about the things we value and that are important to us. So this document, which I think Paulina is going to share in the chat, and everybody will have access to, talks through and shows you in bold what the new language in a question might be, and then strike through what's been removed. And I just want to highlight a couple of themes that you'll see that are different. There's an expanded emphasis on gardens, outdoor spaces, trees, and water, kind of related to that and how we think about drought and heat challenges, especially here in California. Other questions have maybe become less important, like there's no school in California where smoking would be legal anyway, and radon isn't a big thing here. So those questions have been, taken out of the application because they don't really give us any new information about the school. So this is a guide to kind of help you if you're reapplying this year, to make sure that you see some of the highlighted stuff. If you're applying for the first time, you'll follow this guide. There's a lot of resources to help, especially with the outdoor tools. So on those expanded questions about outdoor learning spaces, tree shade, outdoor learning activities, Green Schoolyards America, which is located right here in California, but does international work, has incredible resources to help think through and understand, what to do in this space and with these questions. I think looking through here can also help you identify things that you might already be doing well. George mentioned earlier the Applicant Toolkit. That is located on the CAELI resources for Green Ribbon. The California Department of Education it's a big bureaucracy, and it's sometimes hard for George to quickly post updates to the CDE website. So we've been able to take best practices from around the state and gather them here on this California Environmental Literacy Initiative webpage for Green Ribbon Schools. In this, you'll find an applicant toolkit, which kind of takes you through even the conceptualizing stage all the way through practical tools for the application. So it gives you some ways of organizing a conversation with colleagues and thinking about what is a green school. It has tools for self-assessment to help you identify things you're already doing. George said start there, start with the answers that you already know the responses to. If you're at a school site as a teacher or administrator, if you start with the Pillar 1 questions, you're probably going to be really frustrated. You might start in Pillars 2 or 3, where they talk about things that'll be more familiar. There's a suggested timeline. There's stories from other applicants, places where you can see applications and get an idea of how other people have responded. So there's a lot of tools here. I encourage you as you're trying to apply and thinking through what you're trying to achieve. If there's a place you're stuck, there's probably a tool in here that can help you get unstuck. And probably one of the best tools in here is a list of technical support around the state. People who've been through this process before, people you can email and reach out to, people who will respond to your questions, people who are super excited to help applicants with the green ribbon. George, anything else you wanted to highlight?
No, Nate, you nailed it. That was what I was going to ask you to talk about was the technical advisor team. There are people across the state that can support you. You are not alone. And if all else fails or if you're shy, reach out to me. This is something I can support you with, and I'm happy to do it. So thank you, Nate. Those are some of the best resources. And he went over them quickly, but there are a lot on this website other than the toolkit. There are ways to advertise this work to the people in your district. There are resources like stories from past applicants done in a way that's very easy to read. It's a very quick read, an article version of past applicants. There's timelines like he's showing here on the screen. It can be a lot easier. Here's the stories from past applicants, and these are very nice because they break down some of the biggest parts of the application, and then they make it visual. There are going to be some photos in here. There's going to be board policies and just a lot of replicable information, which is another tip. There really is no copying here. There is no stealing of information. You're just replicating best practice. So if you see something in one of these articles that you're doing or want to do it. Then apply with it or submit it in your application and tell us what it looks like in your neighborhood. What does it happen? How does it happen organically where you are? So just kind of passing that on. Well, enough for me. I'd like to go ahead and move to our next segment. I am humbled to be able to introduce this person who has applied for the Green Ribbon a few times now, and I'll let him talk about it. His school has been applying for a few years and has, in that time, amassed a wealth of information on how to apply, what they've done to refine their application process, and some of the things they've learned along the road. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Brett Talbert from Captain Leland Norton Elementary School. Brett, it's over to you.
Sweet. All right. Hi, everybody. Sorry I was a few minutes late dealing with traffic and my baby and all that good stuff what involves being a new parent. So, thank you for having me. I'm very honored to be here to talk to you guys about our school's journey through the whole Green Ribbon process. So, I'm just going to really start with like our school opened up in 2012. So they started submitting the Green Ribbon application. Uh, what was the first year that the Green Ribbon like does anyone know like the first year that the Green Ribbon Award was like fully like started?
It was around 2012. Yep. And then California adapted it for the state in 2014.
Okay, yeah. So around that time, our principal, Elizabeth Cochran Benoit, saw it and wanted to participate in it. And so that started the process of the school submitting the Green Ribbon Award. So the school's been doing it for quite a long time. Uh, I do know through talking with them, what they noticed at first when they first were looking at the application was that it was a lot of information and a lot of information that they didn't really know how to respond to because it was their first time doing it. And even through the years as they started doing it, they were still very confused on how to do it. So the more that they kept doing it, though, the more they felt like they were getting confident in it until eventually when I showed up, which was in 2022, and we first submitted it with me around 2023. And the team for submitting this Green Ribbon Award has changed many times, even since I've showed up. It's changed a lot since they first started submitting it. Since I've showed up, we've had several people leave and several people enter into submitting the Green Ribbon Award. And It's been a lot. It's been a lot starting from because eventually we had the application. I read the application initially for how they submitted it initially, and wasn't. I'm very technical in how I read it, and a lot of the answers that they were responding weren't really fitting the criteria of what was being asked. So we rewrote the entire application from scratch in 2023 because it we needed to go further in depth and we weren't touching on a lot of stuff that was being asked in the application, so we wanted to do it over again. So we in 2023 we start from scratch. So even though we started from scratch in 2023, we still got a silver. So that led to the question of, all right, we've gotten silver now so many times in a row, and now even with me coming in and rewriting it, it still was silver. So what was it that we were missing that could help us get it up to the next level? Because I've never I had that was my first time doing it, so I'd never done it before. So one of the things that was really able to help us when we submitted it for the 2024 school year was we had access to previous green ribbon applications. And so we were able to look at and see how did those who achieved green, how did they articulate their responses to the questions that were being asked. And so I was based, as Georgia said, there's not really any cheating or copying. It's really more just you're seeing how the previous applicants responded to the questions, and then you're using your information that you have to fill in the blanks. So what one school does is going to be completely different than another school, but that doesn't mean you can't use the phrasings and the words that they used and type it in a similar fashion that they did it. So that was one of the biggest things that really helped once I was starting to go through the application in 20 for the 2020. I guess it would be the 2025 application because now we're on the 2026 application. So basically for the 2024 2025 application, we rewrote the entire thing again. So this is our third time doing it where we've rewrote it twice and now we're rewriting it. We're not rewriting it for a third time. We're just more adjusting certain things now since certain questions have been modified and taken out. But through the rewriting process that we did for the 2024-2025 application, we were finally able to step it up to gold. So, and we finished sixth place. There's five greens and we finished sixth place. And I'm very irritated by that because it was by 1 point. 1 point. We were right there. So now the goal this year is we're not rewriting everything now. We're still going to use previous greens to help us with articulating our responses and getting a more concise response because it's asking for 45 pages. Ours, we just worked on it today. We're at 57 pages. We are way over. So we really need to we've got 2 months, so there is time. But we do need to start analyzing what are we doing in each of the questions to where are we just reiterating certain things multiple times? How can we get this down to where it can meet the 45 pages? For example, one of the questions it was asking for 400 words, we were at 1067 words. How that happened, it's probably my fault. I type too much. But my advice would really be for those, if it's your first time doing it, or even if this is your second or third time doing it and you got bronze or you just got silver and you're trying to figure out how to take it to the next level. One of my biggest advices would be use the resources of the previous applicants. Look at the greens, even look at some of the I even was looking at some of the bronzes and silvers last year to see how did they type their response and compare it to how did the greens type their response to see what gaps were there in their responses. And that was able to help me, okay, let's try to model it more like this rather than like this. So then I was able to work on it from there. And that's how we were finally able to get our gold. So we've made tons of progress since since the since last year, and even since 2023 and 2022. Just being able to move up from silver to gold and being right there to green is a huge step for us. Our goal this year is definitely getting that green. We want that green, and we're going to work on it. We got 2 months and we're going to keep working on it, and we're going to use previous applicants. We're going to reach out to different people just to try to figure out different ways to make sure that we can put forth the strongest application that we've done yet, because we were happy with last year, but we are dedicated to this year. To We want to show that we are one of the greenest schools in the state of California, and we believe that we are. Another resource I would say for current applicants who are doing it the first time or even second or third time, George is amazing. Anytime you guys need anything from George, just send him an email. He will always meet with you guys for whatever questions you have. He's an absolutely essential resource. If you like, hey, I have no idea how to answer 2A-7. I'm just confused on it. Hey, George, could you just help me clarify what this question is asking? This is what we have so far. Are you able to help us? What are we doing well? What aren't we doing well in our response? George is great at helping, and he's just, please resource George. Everyone, George is great. Apart from that, I mean, there it's been really fun doing this. It's felt like a school project back when I was in like high school or college, or something that I just want to do the best that I possibly can. It's except now this is like a real life environmental green school application that I want to show our school is top of the line. And I would highly recommend for anyone, George and previous applicants, because they're absolutely wonderful and amazing to utilize and look at. And yeah, if anyone has any questions or needs to reach out to me, please feel free, because uh, I'm here and available. And if I can add my email also in the chat, so that if anyone wants to just reach out to me, any questions, I'm typing it in right now, so that anyone who just has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And yeah.
Thanks, Brett. As you're typing in your information, I'm going to say a few things. Rewriting your application isn't necessarily recommended. That's a lot of work, and I'll
Hmm.
give it to you for doing that. I would suggest, if you can, just use the past application and build upon it. Brett's just an overachiever. So, with that, I also wanted to point out to one of his suggestions. Let me see if I can share screen here. I put it into our agenda. Let's see. Can you see? Oh, you see my family, don't you? No. Or do
No,
you
I
see?
didn't. Him.
We see your drive, the Andrew Yoigan district
Oh,
examples.
good.
And I shared it in the chat earlier, the place to see the sample applications.
Fantastic. So this is actually that same website that has the toolkit in the additional application support resources, example applications from all three levels, four levels, and then you'll have a folder here. And I put that into our agenda, so you have that as well. It is really important to stand on the shoulders of giants as you rewrite this application or write your own application. Use others as examples. Thank you, Brett. Are there any questions before Brett before we move on to our next step, our next part of our meeting?
All right. I think if you have questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. George, you want me to pick it up here?
Yes, please. Thanks, Nate.
Okay, great. So I think, for those of you who are coming back, hearing the importance of rewriting your responses is definitely one way to level up. I think the other thing is that you won't be able to level up just by saying the same thing differently. I'm sure Brad and his school has done a ton of work to actually improve their programs over time and to add in things that we're missing, and not just the stories about them, but the actual pieces. And we've seen both of those benefits in our district where it's been really important doing the application to help us figure out how to tell our story better locally so that everybody on the campus understands what we're doing and the community understands what that school is trying to achieve. But then also identifying places where, like, oh, yeah, we need to grow in this area. We need to figure out how to do this better. And we need to make a plan for leveling up in our practice as well. So, Brad, thank you so much for sharing that guidance. Um,
Yes,
so,
thank you,
as,
Brett.
yeah. As
Brett.
we're wrapping up today, want to give a moment of reflection. You know, we've heard kind of this river of information go by, and I think reflection is really important as a strategy for taking things out of that river and putting them in your reservoir. So I'm going to talk through the questions and then we're going to go into a breakout room in a moment, but I wanted to pre-talk them so you can pre-think what you might talk about when you get into your breakout. Um, just what's resonating with you today? What are you excited about with the green ribbon? What were some examples or tools that you're interested in exploring? What was a story or a connection you've made that gave you some inspiration or hope? Um, what questions do you have? If you're looking at this for the first time, what are you wondering? And maybe in those breakout rooms, you can make sense together as you explore one of those questions. And then thinking about your own goals, are you reapplying and is it a matter of rewriting and telling the story better? Are you reapplying and it's a matter of adding on those programs or describing the new things you've been able to do and achieve through this program? What are you excited about for your staff? What are you excited about for your students? What are you excited about for your school community? Might be all thinking about your goals. And then for each of us, what's our personal commitment? Is it to submit an application for the first time? Is it to assemble the team? Is it to level up? Just think through those, and you'll have a chance to meet some new folks in a breakout room. One of the important things about this is this work can often feel lonely or isolated if you're the only person at your school who's in this meeting today. Hearing from others and kind of building that sense of community and figuring out how to bring other people on board with you is a really important part of this network. We want to make sure that we have space for that at the beginning and the end of each meeting. So you'll have about 6 or 7, maybe 8 minutes in a breakout room to reflect on these questions with some colleagues. So Paulina, if you don't mind opening the breakout rooms, thank you. All right, breakout rooms are open. Go ahead and dive into those conversations.
Welcome back, everyone. Nate, I'm going to take over. I got something to say. I have to say it. Going through all of the breakout rooms, you know,
You and
almost
your mommy are watching.
I was watching all these different breakout rooms, and as I was doing that, I noticed the champions that were speaking to the application, our past applicants, who in some way or another were inspiring somebody in that room. And I was just in awe. This is everything I ever wanted for this award. It really is stronger when we're all supporting each other, and that's the power of this network. So I
George
hope,
happened to be in a room with two green achievers, and I'm like, so what's next for you guys? And they had, such a clear vision of what was next and all the new things and next things that they wanted to continue to do, even though they've, reached the highest level of achievement, they still see more that they wanted to achieve. So it was really inspirational to be in that room and hear those stories, and also through some other applicants who were reapplying and thinking of how to fix some broken things in their systems that would benefit everybody in the district. So it was just fantastic. So I'm echoing your appreciation there.
I hope that if you met somebody, that you message them somehow and get their information so you can continue the conversation. And if you came to this meeting and are still left a little bit fuzzy of what you're going to do next, email me. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. If there's something that's still not very clear for you, my email address is in that document that I shared at the beginning of our. Actually, I'm just gonna put it in here now. Uh, let's see, or reach out to the technical advisors. So it's really important that you don't get left out in the dirt or in the dust and not have the information you need. And that's really a part of this network. Does anybody have a reflection, question, goal, commitment you want to publicly state?
Yeah,
before we guys
I
wrap
just
up?
wanted to add one more thing in, George, because I just wanted to touch quickly on something I was talking about too in my breakout room. Is one of the people in our breakout room, she had her school had never done this before. This is the first time they were doing it. In my talk, when I was talking, I mentioned how, hey, we were 1 point away from the green, and we want to get that green now. We want to be able to show that we are one of the healthiest schools in the state of California. One thing I wanted to reiterate is you can't start with the thought of, I want to get the Green Ribbon Award. If you're starting with the thought of you want to get the Green Ribbon Award, you're doing this for the wrong reasons then. It's not just about an award. It's about helping your scholars live in a healthier school environment, about your community, about all the people around your school and all the people that you are impacting, that's what you need to be thinking. I want to try to help those around me. What can I do? This is a great platform to help improve your school site, help you touch different lives and show that you are wanting to make an impact in your community. So again, if you're starting with I want to get a Green Ribbon Award, you can't start with that. You need to work slowly and show that you want to improve your school site and want to help impact other people's lives. So now that I'm 1 point away, yeah, I want to get the Green Ribbon Award, but I can't start there. I need to start in a place where I want to impact people's lives and help make our school and our community a greener, better, healthier community for everyone involved. I just wanted to touch on that so that for anybody else who is thinking about applying or even applied and is struggling with the application, don't go in there thinking about just, I need to do better in the application. You need to go in there and think about how can we show that we want to make our community and our school a healthier place for everyone involved. I just wanted to leave that with a little message for everyone.
Well, thanks, Brett. That's a drop the mic moment. I don't think I have too much more to add to that, other than thanking everyone for being here and asking you to complete the feedback form. The feedback form informs us on what our next topics will be for the next 3 meetings of this year. We do this quarterly. Next meeting will be December 11th, then March 12th, and May 14th. So please submit your feedback form. We'll look over it and see what distills to the top. Please read that question document. I responded to every question that was submitted in the registration. I may not have gone over it in our meeting here, but there is an answer to all those questions. Again, this is the end of our time, and I want to thank you for being here and your commitment to making our schools greener across the state. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.